What is going on? It is Andy coming to you on a Monday. And you know how Mondays typically work. I mean, you're mostly depressed about what happened over the weekend, but then you come in like, new week, new year, new me, same pizzeria. And that's why I think you guys might be excited here on a Monday, because I actually have some pizzeria picks that I'm going to try to dish out to you guys. Now, not all, but some, because Friday didn't go well at all with the player props, and I think my penalty, my self-imposed penalty, will be if I can't come through with some of those classic plus 300s that I like dialing out to you guys, then I'll have to dial it back and walk into a pizzeria and try to pick out what kind of slices they got.
You want money lines and Sicilian slices? You came to the right place.
I don't know. I guess we're going to find out, because we have some of these teams on the docket, and it's never easy when you're fishing for pizzeria picks, front page bet, overs, unders, money lines, because it's November and the Edmonton Oilers are playing the Buffalo Sabres. In the world of caring, where do you think Edmonton lies on a Monday in Buffalo?
Be careful taking those Oilers before New Year's.
What are we getting from Edmonton?
I care more about my pizza dough than they do about winning in Buffalo on a November Monday.
But let me talk about some other games here. The first one is going to be taking place in Boston, where the Boston Bruins they have punched above their weight class this year, because this is a bad team. Bad teams can play well above their weight class, as you guys are learning. Now, I know you told me that everybody's a wagon. Oh, yeah, the Penguins are a wagon. Montreal is a wagon. Detroit is a wagon. Well, let me clue you in on some of these teams recently. I mean, before that win that the Penguins got yesterday, it was 1 win in 5 games. With the Montreal Canadiens, it was 1 win in their last 5 games. With the Utah, Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes, 2 wins in their last 8 games, and they both came against the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, you have so many of these teams who are doing exactly what you've grown accustomed to over the last couple of years, despite everybody trying to convince you that they're more than they actually are. Those Anaheim Ducks, I mean, they were juggernauts. #1 in the power rankings, they were. Quick 3 losses on that road trip, and now they're juggling lines. So what are we going to get from them? Because they're on this slate. It seems like when these teams who are now struggling, the only wins they get are versus each other, and one of them's going to get a win. Anaheim's going to get a win, or Utah, Phoenix, Arizona's going to get a win. So I will revisit that game in a second, but I want to go back to Boston, where Boston, who's punching above their weight class, is hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. And when it comes to mail-ins, probably the best thing about Carolina, the most admirable thing, is they give you a decent effort every single night of the year, and then including in the playoffs. You kind of know what you're going to get from them. Boston, on the other hand, they are dealing with a lack of star power. I don't think that is news to anybody, but it's gotten even worse. So obviously, they have Geeky and Pasternak on that top line. They've stuck Kuznetsov in there, and then it was just like, all right, look, let's hope that Zacha, Arvidsson, and Middlestat can just do a little bit on that second line. Let's have Pasternak lead the charge and just get enough from the second line. And I'd argue it's been working out relatively well. However, a team that's that thin offensively, they lost Middlestat last week. They lost Arvidsson last game. They're down to just Zacha and God knows who. If this Boston team is able to beat this Carolina team on this Monday, that's very impressive. Does it mean anything? No, but I still would consider it impressive, considering Carolina usually gives a decent effort in most of their games. So if I think a team's going to win, it's going to be the Carolina Hurricanes. And yes, I know that price is not fully disgusting like the Panthers, but pretty disgusting, which is why I'm going to go with the classic Carolina Hurricanes and under 7.5. I don't see the Boston Bruins scoring a ton of goals in this game, which is why I'm also open to the under 2.5 goals for the Boston Bruins. If you need a true pizzeria, one click, no such thing as a same game parlay, but I would go with the Carolina Hurricanes and the under 7.5 against the Boston Bruins. And then if you can just kind of open the doors and look into Narnia and find some of those player props, I'm going to go with the line 2 power play 2 combo of Logan Stankoven, Jackson Blake, both for a point. That's plus 300. These two guys are not Michael Bunting and Matthew Wood. They are good players, and I think they just get priced too poorly. I already mentioned to you guys it's the second line that gets better looks on the road, and they're playing with Nikolai Ehlers, and they came through in the last game. I mean, if they keep pricing these guys like that, I think we're going to have to throw out a little sniff on them, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Give me Blake Stankoven, both for a point, plus 300 against the Boston Bruins. So yeah, I think the Bruins aren't going to do a ton of scoring in that game, and that's not the only game I think will trend in that direction. We have the LA Kings going to Washington to play the Capitals, and the Kings are coming off of a 2003-esque 1-0 frustrating shutout where they beat the Ottawa Senators, and now they're going into Washington, a team who hasn't been scoring a ton themselves, and that to me is an under type of mix. Now, obviously, this is not going to be listed at an under 6.5. So if we were to take the under 6.5, we have to use one of my scam duel tricks, like no goal in the first 5 minutes, or both teams to score in the first period. No, with the under 6.5. But if I'm going shopping at that pizzeria, then I'm going to go with the under 1.5 goals. You want to talk about a not enjoyable bet to make, or if you're just going out, then I could make that bet because I don't have to watch the game. Few things are less enjoyable than watching a game hoping for under 1.5 goals in the first period, but you know how I feel about teams coming off of a shutout. LA has been kind of deferring to that defensive brand. They've looked more defensive as every game has kind of moved forward. We know that they can play great defense in stretches, what they did most of all of last season. Washington's not scoring even close to how much they were last season. They have some line juggling going on. And I'll go with the under 1.5 for the Pizzeria half of my bracket. Then my snake half of the bracket would be Connor McMichael for a point, plus 130. He got moved to the top line with Ovechkin and Dylan Strome, and I think he came through with 2 points in his first game on that line. You get a grace period. You get a grace period where there are a few games where they will leave your price at a fantastic number. This game, we're getting the plus 130. So he got moved to the first line last game. That's usually when you get that juicy price. And they leave the juice in there for a second game. So you give me the juice and I'm going to squeeze it. Give me the over half of a point for Connor McMichael against the LA Kings. And two things can be true at once. I can think this is a low-scoring game. Three things can be true at once. I think that this first period can be under 1.5 goals. And three, this is like the Inglourious Bastard scene. What is it? Three Gleise. Anyway, the third thing that can be true is all those unders can hit and Connor McMichael can still have his point. Just because you think a game is going to be low scoring, it's the regular season. This game could be the wildest game you've ever seen in your life, and you at least want to be able to benefit from that. So give me the Connor McMichael over half of a point against the LA Kings. Then I want to look at those Montreal Canadiens, who have also been bit by the injury bug. We obviously know they lost Patrick Laine. I don't know how much that means. He was on the fourth line anyway. Then they lost Alex Newhook a couple days ago. They just got Kirby Dach back, and now he's injured for a couple of weeks. So it's a pretty depleted Montreal Canadiens team. But on top of that, they actually are doing some line juggling in there. So pizza and a point prop. So the pizza I would go with here, it's no different than what I've been doing with these Canadiens most of the time. If someone's playing the Canadiens, I just take that team to score a bunch of goals. I guess I'm going with the Columbus-Blue Jackets over 3.5 goals against the Montreal Canadiens. But three guys, I think, can be true at once. I can think that Columbus is going to score a decent amount of goals in this game, but I can also tell you about Montreal point props because they present a ton of values. Since things haven't been working out and they're trying to kind of reconfigure what's been going on, what do they want to do? They want to turn back time to when they had a good power play, which means that was pre-Demidov being on power play 1. Demidov's getting the boot back down to PP2. In his favor comes Z.Bolduc, who was on that top power play spot early in the year, and everything was all roses for the Montreal Canadiens. So they're going back to that configuration. The only way I really wouldn't like this is if I find out they put him on the fourth line, but that should not be the case. I will take Z.Bolduc for a point against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are not a defensive stalwart to begin with. And then you get your mandatory plus 300 point parlay. Give me him for the point and give me Lane Hudson for the assist. That should be plus 300 right there. And I wanted to leave, but because they kick Demidov down to power play 2, just seeing him at a plus 110, and then knowing you could easily put him with the Dobson assist, you got another plus 300 right there. I'm sorry. I got to sneak you those plus 300s when I can. Point for Demidov, assist for Dobson. And then in the late game, between the Utah Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes, and the Anaheim Ducks, all Anaheim needed to do to start losing was reintroduce Ryan Strowman to your lineup. That guy's the kiss of death, winless since he's been reintroduced to the lineup. Then they did some line juggling last game. So I can't look at them for the player point props, but you know what? This is a pretty even line that they gave out. I think the sportsbooks are way overvaluing the Utah Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes. They have good offensive players, just as they've had the last couple of years. But I mean, they've won 2 of their last 8 games, and those have both been against the Sabres. Meanwhile, I've seen many impressive wins from these Ducks, many of which were on home ice. I think they'll be glad to be back on their own home ice after losing 3 straight on the road. I think the Ducks should be like a minus 135 here. But if you're showing me like a minus 110, minus 105, or even minus 115, if I got to go donkey hunting, donkey line it is. I will go with the Anaheim Ducks to beat the Utah Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes, but 3 guys of things can be true at once. I can think Anaheim's going to win this game. I don't know their new line configurations because they put Gauthier on the top line. Terry was down to the 3rd line, so you can't mess with that. But I told you about when a guy is hot, he's hot. It was one of my only good things from Friday, and it was J.J. Peterka scored a goal. Now, he's on a random 3rd line. It's just not ideal. He's on the 3rd line, and he's not on the top power play, but apparently he was kind of rotating into the top power play. Maybe he will get some chances, but I'm just going to roll with this Peterka thing until it actually misses. So you give me that Peterka point, and that is what I have for you here on a Monday. Gave you some Pizzeria picks. Let's see how they go. You know, that's fighting barehanded to show you I can go back to 2022 and just start zapping some donkey lines. But then again, when I give those out during the playoffs, that's when they care. That's when I'm seeing real hockey and I can make real predictions. We got the Oilers hanging out in Buffalo on a Sunday night. What were they doing? Where did they go?
I care more about my pizza dough than they do about winning in Buffalo on a November Monday.
I don't know. Maybe I'll find out and then let you know tomorrow for the next round of NHL Sniffs. But before that, do the things that help me out here. If you appreciate the video, you appreciate the sniffs, you appreciate everything. Like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notifications. Those are all tier 1 favors. Tier 2 favor, there's really only one. Use your hype button to hype up this video so more people get shown the video. Tier favor number 3, you join the Patreon, become a sniffer, you become a minority owner. There are no sponsors here other than you, so if you join that, no, you're the lone sponsor, no Mars bars around here, just you guys. So all of you are very much appreciated. Just know I do everything I can every night to dish out the absolute best sniffs in the middle of the night. I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. I will talk to you then.
You want player props and pirate parlays? Go watch Andy Francess. You want money lines and Sicilian slices? You came to the right place.